time for a more detailed look into the LV18 backpack that's been with me for just over 3 years by now. So this bag was purchased right at the tail end of the COVID, just as the travel was starting to resume, and I had several trips planned across Asia. So this makes it Gen.1, I'm guessing, first generation LV18. So upon getting it though, I found it so comfortable that I even started using it for the daily commute to the office and around town. And this bag went with me to India, Taiwan, Japan, Thailand throughout 2022, and then again to Taiwan and Japan in 2023, and this last year in 24 it was my main bag throughout the Taiwan stay, plus the trips to Thailand and Japan. So why I emphasize these travel usage, it's because it's the travel usage that is a lot heavier on the bags, and I also wanted something that was good on the features, had a lot of compartments, but was not overly military or tactical at first glance, at least in appearance. I think I paid about 120 to 150 Singapore dollars for this. Can't remember exactly, but at any rate it was less than 100 US. And looking back, I think this was one of the best bag purchases ever, the value and the price wise. Yeah. And what makes or breaks the bag, in my opinion, is basically two basic fundamental things. It's the back plate has to be rigid enough, and the shoulder straps have to be kind of wide and soft, but also firm. And it's mind-boggling how often the manufacturers kind of fail to deliver these two basic things. I remember paying 180 Singapore, I think, for Thule Paramount. Very good bag otherwise for long trips, but it turned out almost useless for me because the bag was not stiff enough. It was not rigid enough, the back plate. So yeah, I gave it away to someone and they're using it in their van as the van bag. Yeah. In the LV18 though, these two things are done very well. The back is super stiff. There is a plastic insert, I think. It's not removable though, but it's there. You can feel it. It's padded, but there is actually, I think it must be something like polypropylene. It's in there, or nylon maybe, hard nylon. And I can't really emphasize enough how like wide and soft, but also they hold the shape very well. The shoulder straps are. These are the two things that make this bag so valuable, because you can carry this bag stuffed up to 10, 15 kg and carry it all day long. You won't feel tired. It won't cause you any shoulder pain, back pain, nothing like that. The main compartment is good for any standard size 15-inch laptop, maybe even up to 16. I think 15 is just about it. So it's a bit narrow, so it's got to be either a thin laptop. I can also squeeze in my Panasonic, which is thicker, but it's also a smaller laptop, the dimensions wise. So yeah, and it fits in like this, so you can see that it's the width of this compartment is just barely enough for this laptop with the extended battery. But this is a kind of an outlier. Not everybody will carry something like this. And even fewer people need to carry two laptops, but I do. And in this case, unfortunately, there is no padding in the bottom, not enough padding in the bottom. Some is there, but I don't think it's enough for the second laptop. So the second laptop probably will have to be in a sleeve or something, or you have to add some padding in the bottom. So just be aware of that. Also, in the main compartment, you could carry possibly up to 2,000 pages of documents or reference materials. This in the middle is about 1,000 pages on this book alone. So up to 2,000 pages of reference material is probably the limit of the width here. But vertically, height-wise, there's still a lot of space available, so you can use that for folded jacket, sweater, something like that. There's a lot of space. I think the bag was rated as 30 liters, and I can see that, yeah, it's probably about 25, at least 25 liters are here. So let's say we've stuffed the main compartment. So I just folded my riding jacket and put it in, and there's still some space available. You can see that there's still some space available, just enough maybe for a food container, a lunch box. This is just a sewing kit, but let's pretend this is a lunch. So it fits right in, and there's still some space. With the main compartment fully stuffed, the bag still looks fairly flat despite this little protrusion of the outside compartment, and the back plate is remarkably stiff and flat. So it's got to be flat and stiff. That's what allows you to carry for the long periods. The main auxiliary compartment has 3 sub-compartments, and the first one is actually kind of velvety, so it's intended for not so much for the sunglasses but for gadgetry. You can put in your, let's say, power bank, quick access, and you can even put your phone. It's not going to get scratched up, but this is not a seriously padded compartment, so I wouldn't put my sunglasses in. I actually even wouldn't carry my phone in it. Yeah, this is just for something that you don't want to scratch up, but it's not going to break, right? And it's not super critical because it's not zipped. There is no Velcro, just quick access. The other sub-compartments are zipped, and one of them, the top one, is mesh, and the bottom one is kind of solid and zipped. So this is where you would put your critical things like your passport case, your money, maybe your cash, unless you intend to access them frequently, because this is not the fastest thing to access, but it's also the most secure part of the bag in many ways, because it's fully zipped and it's sitting in the bottom. You can also put something heavier, like power bank, in here, and it can kind of keep your center of gravity lower. The top zipped mesh compartment is by far one of the most frequently used compartments. Here I often carry my keys, my access cards, my storage device, and other gadgetry that needs quick access, but also I want it to be zipped so it doesn't fall out. Not so much for the keys, but often they end up here. Why so? Because I can inspect, I can observe what's in here without even opening. So I think that's also important, and it's quick access. Now, the defining feature of this bag, what makes it stand out, is the external pocket, which has a number of sub pockets inside. So one of them has this sort of a mole panel, which I still haven't figured out how to use properly. I just place my pens in here, and there's two narrow deep pockets here. These are very good for your, let's say, sunglasses case, your glasses maybe, because yeah, and maybe for something like your secondary cell phone, which you might also need to carry when you travel for the long trips. In my case, usually what happens is the computer mouse goes in there, or in the mesh compartment in the back. However, the most frequently used one is the pocket behind the mole pocket, and it has some kind of interesting compartments for the long items, like for instance a multi-tool pen knife. For instance, for multi-tools, for pen knives, they can go right in these sub compartments and will sit there and they're not going to move around. So that's their home basically. Yeah. So you can see that they're sitting there quite comfortably. They're not going to move around. Another thing that might go in there might be a flashlight. Yep. Let's put that in as well. And maybe one of those cool Japanese pens. So it's full house. Everybody is at home. Everybody's sitting tight. No one's moving around or clashing with each other. Air travel, these pointy things cannot be in here. They'll have to be in the checked luggage. And of course, for the daily getting around town, also you wouldn't be having all these things on you. But the real utility of this, one of the most useful pockets, is this one, just behind the molly. Your passport or cash, quick access, but secure enough. There's no zipper, just slide your hand in and take this thing out. Very quick. And the pen usually ends up sitting something like this for quick access, and so that I know where it is. Yeah. Another quick access and somewhat concealed compartment is right behind the external pocket, and it's accessible from both sides. It's somewhat ambidextrous, you might say. Right here. Which potentially causes a minor problem. You might forget that the other side is open and put something in and it's going to fall out. But I understand that doesn't happen very often. So this is the kind of secret compartment that is used by some people for their like holster, and these are some elastics that hold the ammo, spare mags. We also have a flashlight here as well, more spare mags, but I don't live in a place where this is legal or even needed. However, what I did find that it's very handy compartment for things like power adapters, because you can separate your cables and the power adapter, and they're going to be held with Velcro securely in place. I forgot to mention that this external pocket, zip pocket, has a secret compartment. Things like emergency cash. Like imagine you're going on a fairly long trip, and in case you lose your wallet, your credit cards and all, it might be a good idea to have a fair bit of cash and kind of put it in there and forget about it. So that in case of emergency, you have a couple $100 to get by, survive a few days. And if you're heading somewhere with colder, potentially colder weather, like if you're flying from, let's say, Thailand into Japan, from Taiwan to Hokkaido, might be a good idea to add a jacket. And if you don't have space inside, don't want to wear it all the time, you can attach it outside, roll up and attach, and it sits quite securely. I've never had any issue with this thing falling off. Because the nights in December can be quite chilly, especially up in the mountains. I'm strapping my M65 jacket, so it's usually more than enough for Thailand, even in winter. This isn't really a classic Vietnam era mil-serve M65. There's a modern take on it, but it's fairly faithful and it does the job. So the water bottle, by the way, this is a snap button here. All these things are still inside. Everything is sitting comfortably, everything is in its own place, and at this load the bag will clock at about 10 to 15 kg, depending largely on the weight of the laptop, the one you're using, and if you have any print material on you. If you don't have any books, then it's going to be a lot lighter, under 10 kg probably. If I unpacked it all, it would be a ridiculous pile of stuff on the table here. Now the little tricks, the one I already mentioned is extend the life of this bag by putting in a piece of leather, because it's going to start fraying here at the end of probably this first or second year, here along the edge, because here it will rub against your butt, against your waistband, and it's going to start fraying and probably deteriorate pretty quickly. So put a piece of thick leather maybe, or some other like wear resistant material, and it will give you another couple of years. Also, I mentioned having a carabiner like this, maybe not exactly this one, but something sturdy enough, where you can hang the thing on things like hooks and doorknobs when you need your hands free, like in a public washroom, for instance. Another little thing, and this is for the probably only applicable for the first day of travel in a new place. Sometimes when you arrive at the destination, for some reason it takes the GPS or Google Maps a little while to readjust, and sometimes it will show the opposite direction. So you can always verify your bearings with a little compass. I sometimes carry it even within the country. Sometimes when you arrive on a train in a new place, the GPS goes haywire. So yeah, at least you can start walking in the right direction to your hotel or where you need to be. I don't have any major cons about this bag other than that thing wearing in the bottom, fraying. Maybe I would have appreciated kind of a quick access pocket where it's just a pocket and not a big compartment. Some of the bags with the top flap, they have that feature. This one doesn't, because it's a kind of a like opens like a book almost, so it doesn't have a place to put that. But if they could figure that out, maybe like zipper through here and quick access to one small compartment, that would have been great, but that's a minor thing. My conclusion after 3 years, more than 3 years of use, is that this is great value for the money. If you can get it for $100 or less US, do it by all means, and I intend to use it for a couple more years, hopefully, and I don't wish for any other travel bag. Yeah, I hope it will last another couple of years. Oh, and yeah, the brand logo is hidden. You can pull it out just to make sure it's 511. Yeah. But you can hide it away as well.